one design, one cause.
Prevent accidents and be happy. Be happy. Be happy. Be happy. Be happy.
Well, hello, welcome back to Frame by Frame. It is the new year. Welcome to 2015.
Happy New Year, 12 people.
12 people. I'm sitting here, of course, with Andy.
Hello. I'm sitting here with Stephen.
You're useless at that. We're not going to keep on trying. Come on, right.
Let's not try. Let's just be crap like that. It's funny.
He's here and I'm here, yeah? And I don't know why I'm pointing because it's radio.
There's a cat in between us.
Yeah, and Andy's a little bit allergic to cats, so I'm kind of waiting for him to turn blue.
That was me wheezing.
That's
what that was. I've never tried acting wheezing before.
Really? Yeah.
I'm not very good at it.
It sounds like you were rubbing a pig.
That's my prop to make the wheeze sound. This little pig I brought in here.
You talking to me?
Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
Then who the hell else are you talking to? Talking to me?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm smiling at you.
I'm Peter Venkman.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Man that doesn't spend time with his family will never be a real man.
Damn!
I'm kind of a big deal.
First rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, baby!
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
So anyway, it is the new year.
Yeah,
We're in high spirits.
We're still in good spirits, still coming out of the festival. We thought we'd talk about Hollywood's obsession with dystopian movies. Post-apocalyptic.
Disastrous futures that ends up with usually desolate wastelands and very pale palette clothing.
Yeah, because there just seems to be just an incredible amount of these films and still coming out now and still very popular.
Almost as popular as romantic comedies.
Yeah, yeah. They're on a par with each other.
They should try it. They did a zombie romantic film, Warm Bodies.
They did, which was...
But why not? I mean, is there romance to be had in post-apocalypse? I mean, but there's Book of Eli, there's Mad Max, there's the Terminator films. I always feel as though when I see romance or anything in those kind of a film, it's kind of like, well, you'll do. You're the last girl on this earth. You'll do. It's kind of, it's not exactly romantic or clinchy, is it?
No, I guess not. And then sometimes, a lot of the times, it's like a big group of guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like one woman will be introduced, and then he's sort of like, "Oh, hey up,
yeah,
she's gonna get raped."
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe it would
Maybe
be a
not.
romantic thing, and I shouldn't say things like that.
But it was like that in Alien 3, though, when all the prisoners realised that there was a woman on.
Yeah.
You know, so there is a certain nastiness to post-apocalyptic futures that makes it uncomfortable to be a male or a female. Because you know, there's not that many people around anymore,
Which leads us nicely onto
Maze
Runner. Ooh, that was almost a link. Very good.
Almost a link. I was trying really hard. I was straining for breath. I think I needed to I needed to wheeze the pig again. But
there you go.
Can you tell me anything about yourself? Who you are, where you came from? Can you tell me your name?
I can't remember anything. Day one, Greenie. Rise and shine. What is this place?
Welcome to the Glade.
Who put us here?
We don't know.
What's through there? You guys can't just keep me here.
I can't let you leave.
Why won't you tell me what's out there?
That's the maze.
Every morning when those doors open,
The runners look for a way out. And no one has ever survived a night in the maze.
what happens to them? We call them grievers.
We don't belong here. Somebody built the maze. I think it's time we find out what we're really up against.
You're not like the others. You're curious.
What the hell is that? This is the first real clue. You found it. Who knows where this might lead us?
It's a girl.
Thomas.
Everything started changing the moment you showed up.
What if we were sent here for a reason?
The doors aren't closing. They're here.
They're gonna keep coming back until they kill us all.
We get out now, or we die trying. You don't get it. We're already dead. You sure about this? No.
We can't leave. They won't let us. You're not like the others. You're curious. But if you want to stay here, I need to know that you're going to follow the rules.
It starts quite well. This guy just wakes up in a lift. The lift's elevating. He's in there with a pig. He is.
Hey, there's
he's
the
in there
link.
with a pig. There's the link. That's
Wow.
That's why I brought the pig as a sort of mascot.
That's a trophy.
A trophy for surviving the Maze Runner. And so he has no idea who he is. Doesn't remember any of his past. Doesn't remember his name. And he sort of comes around in this. It's like a forest. So it's like a clearing. There's like forests all around him and huge walls, and
like a kind of a hospital garden without the benches.
Yeah, if the hospital garden had really vast CGI walls, then exactly like that.
Exactly.
But no hospital.
no patients.
No,
okay.
no.
So he wakes up and he's in the middle of this square.
Yeah, and there's people around him, you know, and he has no idea what's going on. And again, it's all guys at first. A girl does get introduced.
Just one.
Just one.
Oh, why did they do that?
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't see right when the girl gets introduced into it. She hardly does anything with. She doesn't really advance.
Other than
no, she does advance the story. I'm on about, but she doesn't really have anything to do.
But usually they throw them in to create a sense of conflict between the guys who are there.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah,
but it
didn't. So she's there, but she's not advancing the plot.
She only comes into it towards the end, anyway.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Now this guy who's just been introduced. Something a little bit different about this guy. He's a bit more inquisitive. Dylan
O'Brien. Thomas. Yeah. He played Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah, he played Thomas. But he does remember his name until there's one person in the gang who really doesn't take to him, as is always the case in these things.
Oh yeah, there's always one.
Yeah. So the first night he's there, they hold a celebration. You know, hey, we've got another person here. This is great. And they're all drinking, and he's a bit of an outsider, this new guy. He doesn't really want to get involved with it, but the main guy who doesn't really like him gets him in. So come on, let's have a bit of a fight, you know. And they're all around. Thomas,
it's the Val Kilmer, Tom Cruise, Top Gun thing. You're dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and then they end up hugging at the end. I'm sure.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
But yeah, so
he gets impaled with a spear.
The bad guy.
Yeah,
the guy we don't like.
Yeah, well, he's got his own little story arc where he just cares about everybody there, and he doesn't want things to change.
Oh right,
well, you know, they survived for 3 years.
Why, you know?
Yeah, why change it? But this Thomas guy wants them out of there. You know, so we need to get out. You know, this is not how we're supposed to live. We need to get out. So he doesn't like him for those reasons. But there's two people, and they're called Maze Runners. Now, what happens every morning? These huge walls surrounding this like sort of nice little clearing and forest area. They open up, and inside is like a labyrinth.
Okay.
Outside the walls. And these maze runners have mapped the entire labyrinth, and they've run it every single day to try and find a way of getting
And
out.
then it closes.
At night time it closes, and if you get... No one's ever survived a night on their own.
Okay.
So that's said very early in the film, so you know
that
at
this
one
guy
point
Thomas is going to get...
and survive a night out there, isn't he?
Yeah.
And there's these sort of biomechanical beasties that are out there. I forget what they call them now. It was like a word that you make.
They're like sentry devices, kind of.
Yeah, there's a word. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah,
insert the word. Okay,
insert word. The
Grievers.
Okay.
And they're quite scary type CGI monsters. It's all CGI. And and they have an injector, and they call them getting the sting. So if you get the sting, it basically puts this chemical in them and drives them insane. So I think Thomas's first day of being there, he comes face to face with this guy who's sort of like, it's your fault. Why are you here? You shouldn't be here. And attacks him, and he runs away, and they have to basically throw him into the maze at night time and get him deaded.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what the film's about. And
start them getting out of the maze and try, the equilibrium being that they're used to it. They map the maze. They're not really interested in leaving the situation. They keep on getting supplies from the ground, from the elevator.
The supplies come up with that.
Did they ever do anything with that? Did they try to go down to find out where?
It is said in the show that they've tried that, but the lift doesn't go back down if anyone's in it. The moment no one's in it anymore and it's level, it goes down. But if someone went and sat in it, it wouldn't go down.
Yeah, but it's interesting because they could have found interesting ways to winch someone slightly above it.
Yeah, or maybe cut this, something out the flooring and then just gone down the chain. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe that's it. Could have had, maybe that would be the sequel. Chain Runner.
Well, I don't know if it. I think it was. I think it made enough money to. It's definitely open for a sequel. There's going to be a sequel. What I mean? If it's made enough money, but so there's this main guy who's sort of like the leader, and he ends up going out.
Yeah.
To do a maze run. To see where this other guy got stung, the one who attacked him.
Yeah.
And while they're out there, he gets stung. And they're all waiting at the gates. The gates are starting to shut, and you just see one of the maze runners and the gang leader starting to make the way. And Thomas knows he's not going to make it, so he runs out and gets locked in there with them. And they have to survive a night in the maze.
That's it.
On their own.
And that's the kind of the main plot then.
No. He survived the night. And
that's just one of the...
That's just one of the things, yeah. So
it's the tests.
Yeah, well, so he ends up killing one of these beasts, these arachnid biomechanical beasts.
Yes.
As one of the walls is shut in, he sort of runs through and it squishes him. He gets squished. So what did...
They're like deaded and squished it. Okay,
yeah,
we're going to
deaded,
add those
squished
to our vernacular, I think. Yeah. Deaded.
But what was interesting, there was during that night when they get attacked by this biomechanical arachnid beastie.
Centurion beastie.
Grievers.
There's a few jump scares.
Oh yeah?
They don't work. You know why they don't work?
Because they're not delivered on the E of the 3.
Yeah, they land on a beat.
They land on a beat?
Yeah, as in they're on 1, 2, 3, 4 when you're expecting it. And it's actually sort of timed with the music. I remember I played it a few times just to try and count the rhythm. I'm thinking that's why it doesn't work. It doesn't catch you. It comes when you expect it to come.
Yeah.
Not 1, 2, 3. Yep, there it is.
Maybe we could do an edit on that, just as the actual sequence of scares, just to see if we can get a scare.
And then send it to the filmmaker and say, we've done it better than you.
This is how you do it. Yeah. Just have 2 test audiences run it how they did it, and then run it how we kind of just snipped away and watch and jump.
Yeah.
I'm up for it. In about 18 years' time, when I don't have a baby to look after.
Yes.
Pointless. Yeah. But so that's basically it.
Yeah, well, because he sort of killed this arachnid beastie thingamajig biomechanical centurion.
Grievers.
The following day, the big gates open and they come out in the morning. This is when the girl's introduced.
Oh, right.
Comes up in the lift and she wakes up, says Thomas, and then just passes out again.
Okay.
And
so her name is not Thomas.
No, I forget her name in it, but she hardly does anything really.
That's it. Okay, Teresa.
Teresa. It's Teresa. Her name's Teresa. She's holding a letter saying this is the last one ever, and the lift never goes back down, and the gates don't shut. So that night they get attacked by the biomechanical arachnid beasties.
Right. See, that's you didn't expect that.
No, I didn't expect that. And what made it one aspect of that I liked is the guy you're not supposed to like, who wants everything to stay the same and doesn't like him.
Yeah.
You can now say, well, it's your fault that we've lost so many of these so many of our people.
Yeah, that's yeah. So there's kind of like you start to gain a little bit of empathy.
Well, there's just a nice little dynamic. Like, was he right? Was he wrong?
Which is good, because a lot of these films always have it black and white. He was wrong. I should never have wanted to keep things the same way. You were right, Thomas. You delivered us to a brighter, bigger future, and they could have gone that way, but obviously they didn't. And
I suppose it asks questions. Is it okay to just sit down and just let the world happen, or do you make things happen? And the dangers of both.
It's like Jurassic Park and Richard Attenborough bringing back dinosaurs. I mean, he felt bloody wrong. He felt bad as well.
So we
for
should
doing that, for messing with But it's like, why mess with things?
Interesting. You're looking forward to Jurassic World?
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
No, I'm not sure about it.
I'm not interested in dinosaurs anymore. I mean,
what have you got against dinosaurs?
We have learned more in the past decade from genetics than a century of digging up bones. A whole new frontier has opened up. We have our first genetically modified hybrid.
You just went and made a new dinosaur? Probably not a good idea.
Well, I don't know, because now they've got some new research saying that dinosaurs actually were feathered. That they all had feathers.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden there's this new camp of dinosaur enthusiasts that's going to be angry if the dinosaurs are not anatomically correct and complete with.
But you know what
feathers.
they've done though, don't you? They've made a super dinosaur. They're compiling DNA from different dinosaurs, and there's human DNA in there, and DNA from other things.
Isn't that like Godzilla kind of a?
Yeah, and they've made this super dinosaur.
Is this the Americas?
And that's going to go right, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Why did they do this? Why did they do it? They do not realise that, this is not a good idea. I mean, this is why they do it in movies, because they don't want people to do it in reality. I mean, Dollar the Sheep was a low risk factor when it came to cloning and splicing genes, and I'm so glad they didn't do a human version of that sheep, because that would have been weird. But I don't see why they need to make the nastiest, biggest dinosaur and expect us to understand and appreciate all the ones who are actually running for their lives because of it. But
my beef with Maze Runner, right? Okay.
let's leave Jurassic Park well alone for now, because but you've got a beef.
I've got a beef with it because
okay.
I don't think I've explained it perfectly well, but finally they get out, right?
Yeah.
And you find out that this has been a test. These group of people, there's been a virus that's attacked humankind's minds.
Okay.
Right, or I should say that the whole world's been bleached out by the sun.
Right.
It's been like perpetual sunlight on the entire planet.
Perpetual sunlight.
Yeah.
In other words, the Earth isn't spinning anymore.
The science is off with the way they explain it.
Right. Perpetual sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's basically sand, it's desert. The whole world, as far as you can tell by this, is desert. Your typical dystopian desert, right?
Right.
But there's certain people didn't. Oh yeah, and like I said, these there's a virus that attacked the human brain that sent them all crazy and mad, and but a certain handful of people didn't get it,
right.
And these were special people. Now, for reasons I don't quite understand, these special people they decided to test.
Okay.
So they've gone through a series of tests, which one looked like they were being drowned, but they survived that, and now this test is this maze. Is to get out of it, you pass the test, right?
Okay.
First of all, if you've got this group of people that are special, why try to kill them? Why not medically find out what's different with them?
Medically do it, yeah.
And then introduce it to the population.
It would have been a boring film, but it would have solved a few problems.
Yes, and
but
my other beef is it's the world, as far as it's explained, as deserts. So how the hell have they made this, which is an incredibly vast, complicated maze, which changes every single night, with its own sort of biosphere?
Yeah. Because
it's lush greenlands.
It's a biotope of complete... of everything that they want. So in other words, their priorities are, instead of actually trying to rejuvenate the Earth with this kind of... with this biotope, this environment to find, to re-establish life on Earth, they're using it to challenge special people, to see if they're worthy of something.
Yeah. Because at the end of it, they're just getting a helicopter and they fly off. That's it. So clearly to the next maze to run. I don't know, but I just didn't.
Odd.
Yeah, it's very odd.
But it's like if you break it down that way, if you just take away the whole idea of the story, what the heck is the thought processes behind that? Why go to the trouble? It seems to be that humans really just don't have a clue, and they're just messing around with a maze.
Even though the film's it's cliche in many ways, and it's got your typical characters that you'd expect, and then you've got all these background characters who never say anything, they're just there to paint
to get killed off or to
when the arachnid beasties hit, you need people to kill.
You've got to have red shirts,
but yeah, exactly,
gotta have red shirts.
Yeah, brilliant. But I was kind of enjoying that, but when I got to the end and it had been a test, and
it's like they're waking up, it was a dream.
Yeah, and they get told this by on a video. You press the button and a video comes on, and a woman's telling there's all these people are dead behind her, and she shoots herself in the head at the end of it, which was nice. But, so at the end of it, I was kind of like, oh, that's how you chose to end it.
Yeah, so
and I just don't get how they've done it. And it had its own sort of weather, but outside this maze, which they can run in a few hours.
Yeah.
It's just complete.
This kind of reminds me of Lost, in a way. Why go to the trouble of having that whole underground bunker? Why have that whole camp of people on an island? Why have the temporal thing? Why go to such trouble? And then nothing is ever explained, and there's no reason for it. It's just like somebody has an idea for a maze, and they think, wouldn't it be cool to have people running around this maze?
Because it's based on a best-selling book, as everything is.
But let's not worry. But maybe there's something that they missed from the book, and maybe because a lot of these stories, these apocalyptic stories, are coming from books at the moment. I mean, there's the Maze Runner, there's Divergent, the Hunger Games. These are three obviously going to be successful series of books, or already established successful stories that probably all have that something similar, is that there is something going on, but yet it's not really a logical way forward of thinking. They've either gone back to the Stone Age, or they've just completely lost it, gone mad, and decided to build giant mazes to have people running around for no reason whatsoever. So it is fascinating how there is a kind of a link to a nonsensical idea, but it's all based on the one idea that wouldn't it be cool if, and then just populate it with characters, and then let's not worry about explaining it.
And because everything that tends to come out of Hollywood, it has to be a series of films now. It can't just be a standalone film and think, that was really good, leave it alone. It's like, no, we need to... It's almost when they're writing these films and making them, they're thinking of the sequel and the third one already.
There is fear There is and we're not talking about our positive fear of actually doing creating art for art's sake. There's a fear in Hollywood of not having a follow-up success, and so they have to cultivate things to make them fit the series idea. I mean, the Hobbit films. Nobody really wants to have 4 Hobbit films, but there they are.
3 Hobbit
3?
films. Yeah.
I thought they made 1 into 2 parts. Was that part 2?
Part 2, yeah. Because Guillermo del Toro was originally doing it, and he said there's a prostitute in the Hobbit. And they thought when they get to the prostitute bit, that's a separation that they can do between 2 films.
Right.
And Guillermo del Toro thought it was a good idea, and I trust him. But not splitting the second one into 2. I don't know. I've not seen Battle of 5 Armies yet, and by all accounts, it's the best of the 3. That's
probably,
what everyone's saying.
Yeah, from what we've heard.
But everyone has said, I won't go back and watch that. I'll watch the Lord of the Rings films again, and will not go back and watch the Hobbit film.
But it's because there are all these sequels being spawned for all these films, and the problem is if you know that there's going to be a sequel coming up. It's like in Divergent. I've just watched that. I knew that she's going to survive.
Yeah.
I knew that the guy who she falls in love with, I know that they were both going to be jumping on a train at the end. It's very predictable. And probably with Maze Runner, I'm taking it that Teresa and Thomas are alive at the end of this.
Oh yeah.
Of course, because they can't do it without it. They cannot just kill off characters that are supposed to be there for the sequels. They would never do that, and it's a shame because.
So again, right, I'm going to go back to it, but that's the reason why I like Joss Whedon.
Yeah, because
he will kill the main character off in a film. He did it in Serenity, where he killed off the pilot guy. I forget his name now. But I mean,
at least
you weren't expecting that.
Try,
yeah. So, and everyone's now thinking Age of Ultron, who's going to die because he's going to kill one of the main characters off. But now we know it can't be Iron Man because he's going to be in the next.
Yeah.
Captain America film, so
it can't be Captain America then because
they've shown what films are coming out next. So it's probably going to be a key character, but not a character who's got a standalone film, a franchise going. So it's probably going to be like Black Widow.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be something that's just not worth keeping around.
Yeah.
But then that's going to piss off the fans, right? Or not? That's a good question.
God.
God has spoken.
Yeah.
And with the scent of citrus lavenders. Thank you, Erwick.
Brilliant.
Maybe that's an indication that we've actually gone for half an hour already. And but Maze Runner, good film.
It's okay.
It's watchable.
It's watchable. Yeah. What did you think of Divergent?
Divergent.
Divergent.
Yeah, Divergent is. It's the first of 4 so far, isn't it? Science fiction stories, and it's not a film that you can really go into and just get lost in. Probably like Maze Runner again, you start to label.
Yeah, sorry, I meant to say there's this really nice little chubby kid in the Maze Runner. I knew from because he got along with the main character really well.
Friendly, happy.
They developed this really special bond.
Chunky or Chucky?
Chunky, flabby. A little bit.
I thought his name was Chunk. I'm thinking of the Goonies.
You're thinking of the Goonies.
But
there's no truffle shuffle going on in this.
But he looks like the Goonie kid, right?
He does, he does that lovable, chubby little kid. And you just know, right, he's going to have to die. He'll die at some point. That's your emotional thing. It's where you're supposed to cry in the film. And it's towards the end where but you know how he dies. He dies saving the main guy.
Oh, okay.
So you just say...
Which is slightly different in Divergent because, okay, so let's just explain Divergent first.
Okay.
Trailer.
You nervous?
How are you? For your test?
No. I was terrified.
The only way our society can survive is for each of you to claim your rightful place. Today you will take a test that will help you discover who you truly are. The future belongs to those who know where they belong. You ready?
This isn't real.
Your results were inconclusive.
This was supposed to tell me what to do. We're supposed to trust the test.
Didn't work on you. They call it divergent. You can't let them find out about you. They're always watching. You have to hide where they'd never expect to find you.
Welcome to Dauntless. 2 stages of training. The first is physical. Push your bodies to the breaking point. You're never gonna win, not like that.
It's good to know.
Keep tension here, okay? The second is mental. Face your worst fears and conquer them.
You made a mistake choosing Dauntless. They'll find out about you.
I know what you are. It's been a long time since I could trust anyone. I don't want to be just one thing. I want to be brave and selfless and intelligent and honest and kind. If you want to survive, follow me.
Divergents threaten the system. It won't be safe until they're removed.
We have to fight back.
Ready?
Okay, so that was the
Good trailer.
Yeah, I like that. It was short, sweet.
Yeah.
Not as long as the feature. That's how I like my trailers.
It's kind of like a taster for the main film that makes me want to watch it.
You could even say that it's a teaser.
Yeah.
I feel slightly teased.
Ooh.
Okay, so Divergent, it's a series of films, it's science fiction, it's a dystopian future. The remaining population, whoever they are, wherever they're from, obviously they're in America.
Yeah.
And they've been split into different, depending on their emotional pathways. So you've got the ones who are caring and giving, who love the land, who work the land. You've got the ones who are the thinkers, who are kind of like into the, I guess they're into the politics and the structural. They're kind of like, they're almost like the showrunners.
Yeah.
And then you've got the humanitarians, I think. You've got humanitarians, and then you've got the rebellious. What were they called? They were called
rapscallions.
The Dibblabangles. Hang on, I've got to look it up already. Oh my god, what were they called? Ragtags. Hang on.
Do run. Do run.
Divergent. Hang on. I've got to get this right because it's going to sound really crazy. Dauntless.
Of course.
Yeah. Which straight away made me think of Slithering House. All of a sudden, I'm in Harry Potter. I'm thinking, there's going to be like a sorting hat. So this is going to be a girl who lives in an ordinary family, an ordinary house, plain clothed. It's America's practicing communism, even though they reject it. Kind of a feel to it. And of course, it's her turn. So we're looking at the story through her eyes when she decides when she decides to choose the faction that she's going to stay with. And if she goes to a faction where her parents are not, then she will not have contact with them again. Apparently, even though she has contact with them quite a few times.
I think her mum saved her life at one point, doesn't she?
Pretty much. So she's got to make a decision. She doesn't know what to do. Her brother is also. It's his turn to also choose his faction. I'm just going to have some water before I die.
I've nearly smashed this bottle already.
Yeah.
It's Matterfine H2O.
Matterfine H2O. It's Kirkland natural spring water, courtesy of Costco. Other
natural spring waters are available.
Glasgow tap water. So it's the main girl in this and the brother. They're both going to choose their faction. He's pretty sure where he's going to go. He's a thinker. So he's going to wear a blue tunic. That's all I know. I can't remember what he really is doing, but it's kind of a political thinker. And they all have this ceremony where they all sit there with their parents, and their parents groom them and say, we're ready to let you go, whatever you decide. But before that, they are tested to figure out if they like a sorting hat tells in a way, like Harry Potter. They sit in a chair, and pretty much they get told by the process of the test who they're best suited for. However, the girl, when she sits in the chair, she gets she gets pulled out, and the woman who's actually testing her tells her, just say that the test was inconclusive. It didn't work for you, so you're just going to have to use your own instinct and choose. So she uses her own instinct and chooses Dauntless.
Right.
Because we see her clocking them in, when they're running off the train, and she's thinking, there's something that's drawing to her and to that group.
And she likes trains and
she likes
jumping from them.
Jumping and rolling around and being Stomp. I'm surprised they didn't actually have members of Stomp just doing little dance numbers throughout that film, because that would have been quite entertaining. So her parents are obviously distraught and disappointed. They're not allowed to mix with each other, apparently. It seems as though that whenever you see one group, they're not really mixing. Which is strange, because this is a post-apocalyptic world, and the best plan that they've come up with is to divide everybody into
factions.
into labels, into boxes, and give them a colour, and that's it. So she joins Dauntless, and it's kind of like this ragtag security force, kind of Starship Troopers. All of a sudden, we're seeing the whole process of her training through her eyes, and.
She's exceptional, is she?
She's up and down, actually. She's very there's a test before they actually join Dauntless to actually jump down.
Yeah, I remember that.
But the jumping on the train, she's a bit crap at, and once she's on the train, she meets a friend who's the girl. But as soon as people start talking, you know who all the main characters are, and they just all start coming out. And there's Luke Goss from Bros, who seems to be running the joint, who's okay, now I have cramp. This is a very entertaining episode of Frame by Frame, where I'm...
You've got a new baby, should be used to sit in the same spot for hours on end.
Let's just pretend I'm doing real dance right now. Okay, yeah, this is great. Okay, cramp gone. Luke Goss.
Yeah, Luke Goss.
He's the main guy who's a bit of a hard ass, and
good in Blade 2.
Was he?
Yeah, he was in Blade 2.
Luke Goss or this guy?
No, Luke Goss was in Blade 2.
Oh, really? Was he?
The main. Have you seen Blade 2?
I vaguely.
It's the best Blade film. It's a really good film.
No.
Right. Yeah, the main bad guy with the big chin.
Oh, really?
Chin thing. Yeah, that's Luke Goss.
That's
you wouldn't tell under that.
No, do you know what? It's amazing how sometimes these pop stars just give it a go, and they do quite well, and then you never see them again.
Yeah, because Guillermo del Toro directed Blade 2, and they had him back for Hellboy 2.
Oh,
well.
right.
And I think when a director can see something in someone, I think you're right for this.
But he never gets picked up for anything else.
No one else used to be able to do any good with him.
They're not seeing anything. That is, when will I be famous, I guess. But yeah, this guy who looks a lot like Luke Goss, who's not Luke Goss, is running the joint. And then you've got Pretty Boy, who is the kind of like the supervising guardian of the Dauntless newbies.
Right.
And he's taken his shine, obviously, to the new girl on block, who's now calling herself Triss, because, she wants a cool new name, and she's chosen that. And then they just go through all this kind of testing. It's kind of like so it's like Starship Troopers, pretty much. Which, there's so much in the movie is about them just kind of like trying to shoot guns, trying to get better at shooting guns, hitting targets.
Right.
And of course, because it's a dystopian future, they're able to do it under the landscape of wrecked buildings and beautiful architecture structures that have just been demolished, and they live a life in ruins. And it's interesting, but it's kind of like, well, where's this all going? You're thinking, well, why are we interested in this? What's to do with all the factions? Why is Kate Winslet wearing that weird hair? Wearing that hair.
That's all I remember, because I watched the film quite a while ago, and that's all I remember from the film was her hair.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer Gary Oldman in the role, to be honest. It would have been better.
Yeah.
I would have liked her. She doesn't play hardcore, tough lady very well, I don't think.
No, it's not her calling, is it?
No. I didn't really believe that it's an odd role for her to take up. It's like Ashley Judd as well. And,
but I've not seen her in a lot recently, so maybe she'll just take what's given to her now.
Wow. Then tweeting. She tweets. That's it. Yeah.
People make a living out of that these days.
Apparently so, and most of them are actors.
Yeah.
But so she was, of course, she played the mother, and Carl from Ghost, the bad guy from Ghost, played the father. I haven't seen him for ages.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, well, it's a shame they didn't expand his role. He was just kind of a throwaway part, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, we see her doing the training, and then we discover that there's trouble in the factions. That one set of factions is inferior, going to be wiped out, and they're going to use the Dauntless, use drugs, serum to kind of turn them all into faceless soldiers, and have them all go on an execution ring. And that's kind of all I remember from the film. What did you think of Divergent?
Kate Winslet's hair.
Yeah, Kate Winslet's hair.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I took. Again, it's another. It's a serviceable film, but
it's nice to watch because you kind of just you kind of think, okay, I know what's going to happen.
It's like watching a film you love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what's going to happen, and you just let it just all pan out. But it's not a film I love. It's a film that I'm seeing for the first time, but I know exactly what's going to happen throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
It's a familiar dish.
Yeah.
And you know that you're going to go and watch the sequels because you know that it's going to be a familiar dish.
Yeah, it's something that you can just have on in the background.
Yeah.
You don't really have to invest in too much.
Exactly.
Hunger Games is slightly different though. I think the Hunger Games are...
I'm not through with Divergent yet.
Oh, sorry. Dear me.
You're jumping the gun. Well, no, Hunger Games. Sorry, what, you're going to make a point?
No, I was just to say, I think the Hunger Games are actually a decent films. I think they're actually really good. They do...
They take their time with the
They
first
do.
one.
The first Hunger Game is basically Battle Royale. It's just a rip-off of Battle Royale. But I think it's down to Jennifer Lawrence just being great. She's a great screen presence. I don't think they'd be anywhere near as good if they hadn't found her for Katniss Everdeen.
And I think you're right there. I mean, I kind of feel as though that Divergent is jumping on the back of the wagon in a way by having another girl who is the pilgrim girl who lived a simple life, who was all of a sudden thrown into this ultra violent environment, and they're making a big thing about these characters are all women. That the main characters are women who get to fight alongside men, and it's trying to make it as seamlessly genderless as possible. But by tripping up by doing the same typical services that all gender-specific films have, and you know that every single girl is going to fall in love with their mentor or have some sort of a relationship with a male member of that team who she gets on really well with.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
That's where Hunger Games is different.
Because they haven't done that.
Well, she has, when she's took away from her family and, her sort of society of people, she has a boyfriend. But then she has to...
Gale.
Yeah, but obviously at the end of the first Hunger Games, they both win, don't they? And then they have to start acting for the crowd that them two have a relationship as well.
For the sponsors.
Yeah, and her boyfriend is watching all this on TV, and it's all acting out, and then obviously the class divide is a massive thing in the Hunger Games as well. You got the super powerful,
the rich who like to wear really bizarre clothing and
which I kind of like.
It's hyper, burlesque. It's got a Baz Luhrmann feel to it, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Without the musical hype.
Yeah. But I like that.
Yes. I think you're right. Hunger
and it's
Games...
talking a lot about how we see celebrity and how it really is, and
it's what Running Man didn't quite run with.
The book did.
The book did, yes.
Yeah, but
the film certainly didn't.
No.
It was more about the fact that
Arnie's going to kill everyone.
Yeah, but it's that idea that they've taken their time with it as well, and there's a few things in the Hunger Games that I found that I could relate to more than any of the other films. There's a moment where she's showing the aristocratic high orders who are all sitting kind of up above, watching them practicing with their bows.
Yeah.
And she takes a shot at the target while they're all watching, and she misses, and they all laugh, and so she just calmly just goes over, picks another bow, picks another arrow, puts it on the bow, and then she turns, hits the target, turns around, and none of them are watching her. And it just reminded me of you know, you kind of get this feeling sometimes that when you do great things, they're never actually noticed, but when you fall, everybody notices.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's just one little scene. I mean, to walk away with that is worth it, you know, to have that kind of a connection. I didn't get that with Divergent. With Divergent, I was just waiting for them to surprise me with something that was not a typical scene. There's a moment where the girl, the friend of the main character, she's not doing very well in the testing fight. So Luke Goss picks her up from the ground and shakes her off and says, you know, carry on. So they walk off, and they're just about to cross this ravine. So then he throws her over and forces her to hold on to the sides of her fingers, just kind of like I say, you know, you're going to have to man up and you know, stop being a coward. You're going to have courage. And a part of me thought, are they going to do it? Are they going to just kill a character off to kind of up the stakes, to kind of build this kind of sense of raw energy for the film? Are they going to do it? No.
So, yeah, one of them kills herself, doesn't she?
Oh, the guy kills himself because it was actually the sympathetic character who she meets at the beginning on the train.
Which is the same with the chubby kid from the Maze Runner.
Yeah,
that's that guy.
He's that guy who is nice and he gets along. You know, but in this case, he makes a mistake. But because he's scared and he's trying to stay in the, you know, he's desperately trying to stay in, and the only way he can think of doing it is by getting rid of her. You know, he doesn't want to be a factionist. Because apparently, before I actually, we have to explain that if you don't cut it in Dauntless, you become factionless.
Right.
and that's hilarious. The way they painted it, that the people who are factionless literally are just like homeless bums.
Don't we have that? It kind of reflects what we have in real life, though. When people think for themselves completely and see the world for what it is, they're not the people who will get the high-end jobs. They're the people who might end up on drugs because they're mentally ill. Yeah. But they're not. They just see the world for what it is.
For what it is, yeah. Instead of actually jumping on board the wagon of being exactly like everybody else. They're not tarnishing themselves and putting themselves in the box.
Thank God a lot of those people have found, you know, became comedians like Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
Who got off the ride and went, what the hell is this?
But wouldn't you like to see a Divergent film about the bums, about the factionless? Wouldn't that be interesting?
That'd be good. If the factionless, one member of the factionless ended up doing something that would be interesting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or somehow rock the boat.
Because I saw the stereotypical look of them, like they do in all of these films. When it's post-apocalyptic, if you're not a part of a group, you're literally sitting there watching television just to keep warm. You know, the Terminator scene where there's a mother and child sitting there watching a burnt-out television with flames. They've got no future, they've got no life, and they're just going to live in misery for the rest of their life. But I'm sure that there are actually some really, really happy factionless people out there who are doing some amazing gigs, who are musicians,
absolutely.
But no,
writing incredible poetry.
If you're not a thinker, if you're not athletic, if you're not a carer or a grounds worker, if you're not a real lover of the earth and want to provide food, then you are nothing. So they're basically doing a disservice to art in itself by creating schlock.
And this is catered for, say, teenagers. I'd say
mostly. Telling them?
Exactly. What sort of lesson is that teaching them? You have to belong to either this, or this, or you're going to end up like that.
Yeah, but rebelling is also good. It seems that rebelling is not the same thing as being a bum or an outcast.
But yeah, but the thing with her, she's divergent, so she is different.
She is
than
different.
Everybody else.
And okay, that is one of my pet peeves about this whole idea. The fact that she is divergent
makes her factionless.
Makes her different from everybody else. And the idea of the film is that if the test doesn't reveal which faction you are, then isn't that the machine? Isn't that a technical error of the machine?
Yeah.
If it does not determine what faction you are meant to be, what makes her any different to any of those other characters in the film, other than the fact that she has a kind of a wider sense of the world that she lives in. She doesn't just see one colour; she sees all the colours.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make her superhuman. It doesn't make her a mutant. It doesn't make her dangerous. It just makes her a free thinker. Is that pretty much what it is? Free thought.
So
yeah.
So after all these times, we're still stealing off Orwell.
Yeah.
Of course, it's 1984.
It is 1984. It still is. But yeah, there's nothing new in this film, but it does stamp out. It's the island as well. The idea of
the island,
having free thought and having the ability to break free from your from being.
That's what I mean. You must think this, or this will happen.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously the path that she goes on, I'm hoping that they're actually going to kind of explore that a little bit more and maybe shake it up a little bit. But from what I see, it just seems to be just a run-of-the-mill action thrill sci-fi film.
Why do you think these post-apocalyptic films do so well? And why do you think Hollywood churn them out?
It's a good question. I mean, they are in their numbers. I mean, at the moment, they're the most popular books to be read. They're a form of escapism, but what are people escaping to? It's kind of like the hidden sense of communist or totalitarian regime.
Yeah,
it's I mean, Star Wars has the same thing. It has you either this or you're that. They love boxing people into groups and sects, but post-apocalyptic films do it more so.
They do. The conspiracy theorist in me, is like saying it's because they want. That's what they want.
Do they want us to? Yeah,
they're watching that to say, in the future, in the not too distant future, when a police state hits, we'll be used to it because we've seen it so much in films, and say, well, that's kind of the way it's going to be.
We know how to act,
and you can sneak it in that way.
Yeah, this is like a training video for your future.
Yeah.
Oh, that is creepy because I mean, tell me what the problems with the Earth right now, with the people on the planet Earth. What are our main problems?
Well, I'd say one of the main problems is the 5% of the world controlled 95%. It was 5% of the world controlled 95% of.
And
there's a great YouTube clip. Find it. It's great. This banker who was talking about he was looking forward to the next financial crash because he makes so much money out of it.
Yeah.
And I remember because she was talking. I forget the newscaster who was interviewing him, but she was taken back by what he said. He was like, "Well," and he said, "You're trying to say that politicians own the world?" He goes, "The presidents don't own the world. Goldman Sachs own the world." Yeah. And the woman was just taken back, saying, "You can't say that."
I have a confession, which is I go to bed every night, I dream of another recession. I dream of another moment like this. Why? Because people don't seem to maybe remember, but the 30s depression, the depression in the 30s, wasn't just about a market crash. There were some people who were prepared to make money from that crash. When the market crashes, when the euro and the big stock markets crash, if you know what to do, if you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this. For example, hedging strategies, then investing in bonds, treasury bonds, that sort of stuff.
If you could see the people around me, jaws have collectively dropped at what you've just said. I mean, we appreciate your candour, however, it doesn't help the rest of us, does it, or the rest of the Eurozone?
I would say this, listen, I would say this to everybody who's watching this. This economic crisis is like a cancer. If you just wait and wait thinking this is going to go away, just like a cancer, it's going to grow and it's going to be too late. What I would say to everybody is get prepared. This is not a time right now to wishful thinking the government is going to sort things out. The governments don't rule the world. Goldman Sachs rules the world. Goldman Sachs does not care about this rescue package, neither does the big funds. So actually, what I would actually tell people, I want to help people. People can make money from this. It isn't just traders. Because in less than 12 months, my prediction is the savings of millions of people is going to vanish. I would say be prepared and act now. The biggest risk people can take right now is not acting.
No matter what we do, we are told by something to do something.
It's like, you need to have this or you will not belong to this. It goes back to that.
And that's what it is. And now we're kind of going back to this whole post-apocalyptic idea that we need to be told in all these films that we have to belong to something. That we need to carry on labeling.
Yeah.
We need to always box and label people, gender specific. I mean, exactly like we said with Maze Runner. As soon as a girl is introduced to a male populace in a film, we immediately think conflict.
Yeah.
And
which I was surprised in the Maze Runner. It didn't happen.
But we think it.
Yeah, I thought
but it's important that we think it. It's not important that they reveal it or show it, because they're not able to do that, because that's the truth that we are only able to think ourselves.
Yeah.
When that guy hangs that girl off the ravine and tells her that she's weak, that she's got to climb her way up, got to find a way. You know, I want her to drop down and die, not because I don't like the character, but because I want the film to make a point.
Yeah.
I want the film to shake me up, to make me think that, you know, but it doesn't do it. It doesn't want you to. It wants you to think about everything that it's not able to produce. But as long as you're thinking it, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
As long as they're advertising the thoughts of those thoughts and feelings that you're not supposed to have, then you're still going to be reinforced by the images of factions, groups, and things that you're actually supposed to just fall into.
Advertising and marketing is just awful, isn't it?
I have no idea what I just said.
It was great. Well, just going back to the advertising marketing, it was really good. Very incredible points. And I think just we've got to TV a little bit, because I've always thought this. You know, like if you see an episode just about trying to dumb people down, try not to let them think, and to say, because you're talking about, I think I'd be divergent, because I don't fit. I've never felt like I fit into anything. Growing up was quite lonely for me, because I found it difficult to have friends, because it's only when I got a little bit older I found out there's people had similar interests to me, like film and music. But
people are afraid to actually say that they're into it.
Yeah, and I don't.
Why?
I've never fitted into any kind of.
Same here.
Yeah, you know. So, but I often thought that like EastEnders or something like that, an episode of EastEnders, right? Someone may find out that they're married to what now turns out to be the cousin, and oh my god, and my dad is
love triangle with
my dad love triangle with someone, and then this, and then that's happened, and this person's got AIDS on his finger, and whatever it might be, and the average person at home watching that will go, "Well, my life ain't that bad."
Yeah.
And you stop. It angers me this, because this seems to. When did we get into this paradigm of you're born, you have to go to school, have to.
Yes.
It's a legal requirement to go to school.
Yeah.
And then you get a job, and then you die.
Yes.
Oh.
Retire,
and then die.
The dream. Retiring is the island.
And
is the island.
And then halfway through that, you have a child, so that child can go on the same course and do the same thing, and keep this paradigm going. Oh, we're slaves, man.
It really is, and
that's slavery.
Human race is really, as long as we keep on getting this image pumped in our brains that it's okay to be labelled in factions, it's okay to think that you can be successful and not achieve. Because EastEnders is all about, like there's that character Ian Beale, who no matter what he tries to do as an entrepreneur or any ideas that he wants, I'm talking probably like decades ago. He's probably not even in the show anymore. This is like how long I've seen it. No matter what he tries, he always fails and ends up working in the chip shop.
Right.
Okay. It's okay to have dreams. They say it's okay, but I don't believe them. I don't believe that it's okay to have dreams.
They don't want you to have dreams. They don't want you to.
Because what does every single dream require you to do? If you want to actually set up your own business, what have you got to do?
declare yourself as self-employed.
Yes, but most of the time you have to have a business loan or something.
Yeah.
You have to basically build your empire with borrowed money, and then. So the idea of a dream is to create your own business or to create your own income.
Exactly. And you've got, again, advertisements coming from banks that's telling you, oh, we've got such an interest rate on new businesses starting out. You know, you'd be paying back at 10.6% and stuff. And don't get me started on fractional reserve lending. Well,
no.
Do
not get me started on fractional reserve lending. I love that line. That is going to be the tagline on this episode. Do not get me started.
I have all kinds of anger against credit and the way banks work and stuff.
But the dystopian future is here, man. There is no way of saying that we are actually in it. But they keep on telling. I think they're just telling us that it's not there yet. We're not there. This is
maybe because there's not been an apocalypse.
No, but maybe there has. How do we know? How do we know if there hasn't?
We wouldn't know. That's the thing. The news we watch, we're seeing what we're meant to see. We're not seeing the real life. This is really dark, and I'm sorry if anyone who's listening to this, but I'm going to say something that's really dark, but it shocked me because it's not even on my frame of reference.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast, and the guy does a lot of work in Uganda.
Right.
For it's something to humanity or something. It's about children should have a life, essentially. But these kids had seen the parents murdered, mutilated, put into a stew and forced to eat.
Yes.
That was even... what shocked me most about that is I couldn't even... it's so beyond my frame of what I think is real. I was shocked by it, but I couldn't feel sorry for him because I couldn't understand that could ever happen. What the films that we're addressing do is the guys at the top, the 5%, who have everything.
Yes,
and we don't have to worry about you because you're starving, and I don't have to deal with you.
But yeah, these films, dystopian films, are let's kind of rein it back here because we're kind of really reaching to the idea that we don't know what's going on in our world, but as long as we are shown images of a future dystopia which is ridiculous, usually. I mean, the Maze Runner idea is a ridiculous future concept.
Yeah, it is.
But then you've got those other. Hunger Games and Divergent, you've got these films that are all about the look and the emotional feel of being a part of this splintered population that has no reason to be splintered or a faction or in the group. There's no reason for it to all be that other than the fact that humans just love to be in control. But not only that, they love to be in control of smaller numbers. They don't want to have people that they don't know about living their lives somewhere without being counted. You know, it's a fear of the unknown, and we have to make sure that we can see everybody. That's why, if you're wearing yellow, you're there. If you're wearing blue, you're over there.
Yeah.
And I think we're afraid of just not admitting that we would prefer to live in a post-apocalyptic environment where we survive and thrive and live in our own quiet little communities. I think we're afraid to admit that we actually would prefer that way of living.
Yeah, a simple, humble.
Because what we've got now, we don't understand. What we've got now is we don't know if politicians are believable. We don't know if the food that we're eating is safe. We don't know what's going on over that fence. We don't know if we're actually doing exactly what we should be doing in our life. But if it was broken down into such simple 5 steps, 5 groups, then people would be an easier way of living.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's quite a beautiful.
Not really eloquent.
Oh, it is. It's, I don't know who said it, but I remember reading somewhere where so the only way a man's free, or a woman, not being sexist, is if you take everything away from somebody, everything, then that person's free.
Yes, and that's. I mean, I think we've all done it somewhere along our lives where we've lost everything.
Yeah.
I went to Australia and lived in a suitcase.
In a suitcase. Wow. You're a lot shorter back then.
Yes, I grew a lot when I came home. Yeah.
I never wanted to mention it, but you've got this like handle-shaped imprint on the side of your face, and I was wondering what that was there for. That'll be from the suitcase.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like public toilets. It just gives me that idea that I'm on a conveyor belt going through the airport. Oh shit, man! Luggage compartments, I like them. No, I lived from a suitcase, I should say. Yay, poor four. And yeah, and it was very, very freeing to be able to just say, I just pick up that suitcase and I can go anywhere else.
Now, imagine if we didn't have the internet now. If it was just taken away from you.
Do you know what? That is fascinating. That is a fascinating discussion. It would take another hour into this show.
Yeah, because I think we should probably think about wrapping up soon.
Yeah, but in short, nobody would know what to do with themselves.
No.
Take away the internet, we'd have to start making real film and actually start to take film to distributors and beg for them to show our films, or we'd have to start performing in public. We would never have any contact with people on the international front like we do now. We'd be relying on news, and newspapers,
and they're not the most reliable.
Magazines will suddenly come back in big. There are still magazines out there. I don't know why people buy them. It astonishes me why they're actually worth picking up.
I'm on Empire website virtually every day, and it was probably last year, July last year, I stopped buying the magazine where I realised what I was reading in the magazine I'd literally just read the night before on the website. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
ridiculous.
The last one I bought was Australia. In Australia, actually, it had Nicole Kidman on the front. I don't know what it was for.
So cliche over there. That to be an Australian actress.
It has to be an Australian actress, of course. But yeah,
well, I think we've
the internet we'd have to read books again. Basically, that's it. And people would be growing their own potatoes. It'll be a simpler life.
And you'd have to go to your bank.
But I feel sorry for all the kids who were born after 1995 because they don't know of a world without internet.
No.
And that is fascinating, don't you think? It's fascinating that these 25-year-olds.
We'll be saying to our kids, "Oh, I remember when the internet. It did take about half an hour to load up a web page." Do you remember that? I remember because I used to be a massive fan of a band called Dream Theater, and I'd be like www.dreamtheater.net. Enter. I go make a brew. Come back, and it was probably just on.
Yeah, and it was just basic text and images.
Yeah.
Bad colour design because everybody kind of got excited about colour on the internet, and so they had pink writing and But yeah, the internet, I'd love it to just disappear for a month, just to see how.
That will probably be our apocalypse.
That would be
the internet.
It's
that
enough.
would be our apocalypse.
That's enough, I think. I think if we lost the internet, right now,
you wouldn't be able to pay for anything because everything's done wirelessly now.
Yeah.
You'd actually have to get cash.
You'd have to go to the banks and hope that they've gotten all their systems together. There'd be a big long line outside of banks. You know the bread lines of the 1920s, 30s?
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Yeah.
And banks, by law, only have to hold 10% in the vaults of what they actually say that they've got.
Yes.
So you wouldn't be getting...
The money will be going all around the place, and there'll be rebellions forming, hijacking all these armoured trucks that will be suddenly in great numbers trying to transport currency across everywhere. Oh, we could write this, man. Cut this out and keep it to ourselves.
Yeah, let's do that.
It sounds great. The internet disappears.
The day the internet died.
Let's call it that. Yeah. So let's just cut that out and just say, yeah, it would be appalling.
It'll throw a spanner in the works.
We'd have to go and buy stamps.
Oh. Yeah, I've taken to playing with Elastic Band now, which usually signals the end of the podcast.
Yeah, and okay, let's do this. I'm gonna hang this.
Right, you ready?
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Here at Cinedyne, we understand that there is a time and a place for watching blockbuster movies. And there is also a time and a place for enjoying quick and easy food. That time is Cinedine. We've combined the state-of-the-art movie ritual within our fast-growing chain of multiplex cinemas with the must-have dining experience. Your attention and enjoyment of popcorn movies is enhanced by 3,000% thanks to our fully disclosed secret ingredient which you can enjoy within all of your favorite food items. Popcorn, hot dogs, nachos with Ed's special liquid cheese, and not to mention our Cinedine menu with food suitable for all ages, religions, and counterculture professionals. At Cinedine, we are proud to use British meat, which is also suitable for all vegetarians, vegans, and diabetics. And for those fussy little children who are ready to sit down and glance occasionally at the screen, every food item contains sherbet of some description. Even our economically sized popcorn boxes are edible.
That's right! You can even eat the plates, Dad!
That's right, little one. Cinedine has listened, and we know what makes your next movie experience the best one you've ever had. Until next time, that is. Cinedine. Fanatical about food.